Track and field has a problem. The sport is getting too fast. And after what happened at the World Athletics Relay Championships, that problem just got worse. Because this wasn't just another relay meet, this was chaos. World records, insane split times, underdogs exploding onto the world stage, and one race so ridiculous, people genuinely started questioning if the track itself was wrong. Seriously, the men's 4x400 final might have been the greatest relay race ever run. But there's one issue. Nobody knows how real the times actually are. Let's explain. The world relays in Botswana are supposed to be simple. Countries show up, fight for qualification spots, maybe test a few lineups, that's usually it. But this year, everything went off the rails. We saw Elaine Thompson-Herah suddenly look like her old self again before pulling up injured. Jamaica shattered the mixed relay world record, and Team USA still casually won the men's 4x100 with basically their B team. But none of that was the real story, because the men's 4x400 final turned into something completely different. 3 countries, Botswana, South Africa, Australia, and somehow all 3 look capable of breaking history. Botswana entered as defending world champions. South Africa had depth, young talent, momentum, and Australia suddenly has sprinters now, which sounds weird to say, but it's true. Not long ago, Australia wasn't even part of the global sprint conversation. Now, they're running shoulder to shoulder with world champions. And from the very first leg, you could tell this race was moving differently. Botswana's Leapy gets out hard. South Africa stays close. Australia refuses to disappear, and the pace already ridiculous. The opening split instantly lands among the fastest to ever run. Then comes leg 2, and this is where everything stops making sense because Botswana hands the baton to Letsile Tebogo, one of the scariest sprinters on earth right now, a guy known for producing absurd relay splits. At this moment in time, he already owns one of the fastest relay 400-meter splits ever. So naturally, everyone expects him to destroy the field. At first, he does, and he breaks away. Looks smooth, controlled, and suddenly, everything changes. South Africa's Zakithi Nene starts hunting him down. Australia's Reese Holder starts closing too, and not slowly, violently. Tebogo starts tightening up. The gap disappears, and then South Africa blows past him. Australia almost does too. At first glance, it looks impossible. Like Tebogo simply collapsed. But then the split times come out, and suddenly the race becomes even crazier. Because Nene supposedly just ran the fastest relay split in history. Not one of the fastest. And Australia's Holder, top 10 all time. Even Tebogo's split was insane. He just got outgunned by something even more ridiculous. At this point, the entire race feels broken. South Africa enters leg 3 in the lead. Botswana right there. Australia still refusing to fade. And now, the pressure shifts. An 18-year-old for South Africa suddenly has the responsibility of holding off world-class athletes, and somehow he does it, barely. Botswana's Ndori keeps charging, Australia's Reynolds keeps gaining, and by the final exchange, all 3 teams are basically tied. Now the anchor leg begins, and on paper, Australia shouldn't even be here. Botswana hands off to Olympic-level talent. South Africa has a proven closer. Australia, Aiden Murphy, personal best, 44.8 compared to the others, completely outmatched. But then the race starts, and Murphy doesn't care. He attacks immediately. 3 athletes, shoulder to shoulder, nobody giving space, nobody backing down. Murphy tries to swing wide around the curve. Botswana blocks him. South Africa squeezes him, but he stays there, still fighting, still attached. And then Kevin Ndori reminds everyone exactly who he is, the world champion. He explodes down the final straight. Botswana takes it 25.47, one of the fastest relay times ever recorded. South Africa right behind, Australia just after them. And suddenly, 3 of the 4 fastest 4x400 teams in history came from this single race, which should feel impossible because the legendary American super team from 1993 still owns the world record for a reason. That team was ridiculous. Michael Johnson, Butch Reynolds, Quincy Watts, absolute monsters, and yet somehow these teams nearly matched them. But then things get weird because when people look deeper into the split times, nothing added up. The relay splits being reported were absurd, not just fast, suspiciously fast. Athletes with personal bests in the mid-44s were suddenly splitting low 43s. One split even claimed a 42.60, the fastest relay split ever. And that's where people started asking questions. Were the splits accurate? Was altitude affecting times? Or was the timing system just completely broken? Because this meet was held at altitude, around 1,000 meters above sea level. That absolutely helps sprinting. But this much? That's harder to believe. And then came the biggest twist of all. Australia's relay team in the heats accidentally started ahead of the actual mark. Officials literally placed them too far forward, meaning one of the fastest times on the leaderboard came from a race where the start wasn't even correct, and at that point the entire event became chaos. So what's actually real? Honestly, probably somewhere in the middle. The split times may be questionable, but the race itself, that was absolutely historic, because regardless of timing controversy, this generation of 400-meter runners is different, and they're deeper, faster, more aggressive, and they're pushing each other into territory we've never seen before. Australia is rising. South Africa is loaded with talent. Botswana might have the next true 400-meter superstar, and Kevin Ndori, yeah, he might genuinely threaten the world record one day, because when you watch that final burst of speed, it doesn't look normal, it looks inevitable. So maybe the split times lied, maybe the track markings were a mess, but one thing is definitely real: the future of the 400 meters is terrifying.